I've been talking on this show about Mike Lindell and his experiences of being canceled, you might say, by these retail companies that, by the way, he had been doing business with for quite a while and doing very well by them. And yet, suddenly and virtually instantly, and seemingly in some sort of coordination, by which I mean just that it happens at the same time, so there would seem to be some sort of communication. They're all one after the other. Phone call, phone call, phone call. We're not carrying your stuff. Now, Mike knows, and they know, these companies do. And by the way, I'm inviting the CEOs of these companies to, come on the show and explain their position, because normally they just put out these meaningless bureaucratic statements that say absolutely nothing, like we have been reevaluating our inventory and have made a decision in the best interests of our customers. And when I see this kind of thing, I'm not sure if I'm listening to a robot or a human being that has just learned to put out messages like a robot. I mean, we live in sort of a robotic age, and so sometimes when I'm on the phone, I give my number out like I'm a robot. 271-325. So we've learned the robotic style, but companies have perfected it. Now, why are these companies doing this? Is it because there's a wave of customer dissatisfaction? Not at all. There's a left-wing guerrilla movement that goes to these companies and threatens them, threatens to accuse them of racism, threatens to shut them down, threatens to bring demonstrators to their front door, and the companies run scared. By and large, corporate America doesn't know how to deal with any of this. They don't realize that they don't need to worry about it. The whole thing is an orchestrated scam. There's no real customer dissatisfaction behind it. It is a made-up crusade. But these people are such fools that the press officer goes running and, oh, I got a call from the New York Times. Oh, I got a call from Media Matters. Oh, these groups are calling me. What do I do? What do I do? And all of them then go under their desk and they start sweating. It's a really disgraceful sight. And then they decide, okay, we're going to have to call Mike and cancel his stuff. Now, what do we who can see this spectacle of fear and cowardice and weakness, and we think to ourselves, what can we do to fortify these people's backbone? Or better still, what do we do to apply some pressure from the other side that will teach them a lesson? We'll tell them, hey guys, you know what? If you think you're going to pay a price on this side for doing this, we're going to make you pay a bigger price on the other side. But what is that bigger price, and how do we impose it on them? I don't have an easy solution to this problem, but what I will say is the solutions I often see are clearly guaranteed not to work. So let me start with the famous boycott. I'm never going to go to Bed Bath & Beyond again. You think they care? You think that your abstaining from going to Bed Bath & Beyond is going to do it? Well, we're going to get some other patriots on board. Well, let's say you put it out on social media. How many patriots are going to respond? 10? 30? Let's say it's 100. That's not enough to shake a major corporation to its core. Well, it turns out in this context that I have an experience, a very illuminating experience of shaking a major corporation to its core. In fact, I'll sort of give you one of the punchlines. I'm sitting across from the CEO of this multi-billion-dollar corporation. In fact, it happens to be Costco. And the CEO looks me in the eye and he says, and I quote him now, "Danesh, you are destroying Costco." I think he expected me to be very ashamed. Inwardly, I was like, well, I'm destroying Costco. This is awesome. I didn't realize I had that kind of power. Who should I take on next? But this was all inside my mind. I kept a very stoic, expressionless face, adorned with appropriate cosmetic sympathy, and I listened to him. Now, let me back up and tell this story because I think it's eye-opening for thinking about what makes a corporation respond, what makes them change their ways. In 2014, I published the book America, Imagine a World Without Her, with an accompanying movie that came out at roughly the same time. Now, my books have sold and continue to sell very well in Costco. Costco made a big order for the book. And I was merrily going about promoting the book when suddenly I get a call from a journalist who says, "Hey, Danesh, they've pulled your books out of Costco." And I'm like, "What? Are you telling me you walked into some local Costco and the local manager didn't like the book and pulled them from the shelves?" And the journalist goes, "No." He goes, "Your books have been pulled from every Costco in America."
Do you want to know how to defend the Constitution, how to protect your freedoms?
Oh, what? He goes, "Oh no, there's been a policy decision at the highest levels to yank your book out of Costco, nationwide." And so I was naturally kind of amazed by this and flustered by it. And I think this is how it happened. The guys who started Costco, the top brass at Costco, were Obama guys. Jim Sinegal, the guy who founded Costco, big Obama donor, Obama supporter. There are other top guys at Costco who have been Obama guys as well. So I think what happened is that one of Obama's people, I don't know if it's Rahm Emanuel, someone like that, walks into Costco and, "What? I can't believe that Costco's stocking Dinesh D'Souza's book. Dinesh D'Souza is the guy who made fun of Obama. He made that movie 2016 Obama's America. Let's go get him." And so obviously they made some phone calls to Costco and said, "We can't believe you're stocking Dinesh's book," and Costco obligingly decides to pull it. So there's the pressure, and remember, it's inside pressure that is coming from the other side. So now what happens? Costco pulls my book, and they've clearly decided to do it, and they have a reason to do it, which is to please the great Obama. And what's going to happen? So this journalist writes an article on a website. It's a conservative website. And it talks about the outrageousness of pulling a patriotic book. By the way, this was not a book on Obama. It was just a celebration of America, an argument for intellectual patriotism. Read it if you can. America, Imagine a World Without Her. That's the title. And a book written from the immigrant point of view. And they, by the way, pulled it right around the 4th of July. So there was a kind of vein of outrage that ran through this website, not just the article, but all the responses to the article, hundreds of them, basically saying, "What the heck? Why would you pull a Patriots book on the 4th of July? What is the matter with you, Costco?" And remember, a lot of Costco shoppers are conservative-leaning people. They're people who by and large have small businesses. They're the kind of people who are likely to lean to the right. And these people began to complain bitterly and angrily on this site. But the reaction from Costco was essentially nothing, zero, zip. Why? Because they don't care about a conservative website. But sometime along the way, somebody on that site who was part of this ongoing dialogue decided, let's take the conversation over to the Costco website. And so what happened, and this was almost like a kind of snowball gaining snow, hundreds of people on the website became thousands of people on the Costco site, and these people were super pissed. So what they began to do is review all the Costco products negatively. Not just the decision to take my book away, but we hate the Costco grills. Their barbecue grills suck. Their food is horrible. They just began to trash the site by saying how everything Costco did was horrible. And many of them went the extra mile. They would take their Costco executive membership card with a scissors and take pictures of themselves cutting up their card. They'll never go to Costco again. To heck with their membership, even though they paid for it, and they posted those photos on the Costco website. And you can only imagine the consternation that Costco felt when a major vehicle of doing business
Revolutionary Telescope is taking over the
was being trashed, you might almost say, in this way. Costco went berserk, and literally within a day, the leadership of Costco made emergency phone calls to my publisher. Please fly Danesh up to Seattle, to the Northwest. We need to have an emergency meeting with him. I had the emergency meeting, and that's when the CEO looked me in the eye, and he implied, for example, that his job was even in the balance, that he might get fired over this. That's when he said to me, "You're destroying Costco." And the actual reply that came out of my mouth was, "No, sir, I'm not destroying Costco. You have antagonized your own customers. You are to blame for this. You did this. You take the responsibility, and I hope you correct it." I shook hands with him and I left. By the time I had landed back in San Diego, where I lived at the time, Costco made a 180-degree U-turn. They immediately rescinded their ban